another episode of me. Hey, welcome to my HAPS platform and my programming. Oh, let me just click this here. Good to have you here. Let me just get this straight here. Oh, I'm sorry. And really, what happened was I was about to say the name of the other program that I'm on. I was like, wait a minute, got to get them straight. Got to get them straight. But good evening, guys. Good Thursday evening. Good Thursday evening. And I hope everything is well with you and wherever you're watching from. Remember, we are being seen on Periscope, which I know is defunct, but they saved the videos. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and I believe Instagram. I'm not sure. But either way, I am happy to be in front of you. I'm going to try to, as always, entertain you and inform you and hopefully give you reason to like what I do and give you reason to come back and check me out. So tonight, what we're discussing tonight is my second book, which is called From Gigolo to Jesus. Now, right over my left shoulder here, back over in the corner, you can see the book cover, but I'm going to actually hold it up for you because I want you to be able to see it. This is the book cover here, From Gigolo to Jesus. This is actually the hardcover. It's in hardcover. I only have about a few more, and then it is in the paperback edition as well. And the reason why I wanted to talk about my book From Gigolo to Jesus is I really wanted to discuss what went into writing the book and how I used the book to help me do what I do as a counselor. And when you're a crisis counselor, when you're a person who is a Christian counselor, it can be very difficult to get people to open up and to share what's going on with them because often when we're dealing in the faith realm, people automatically feel they're going to be judged. And when we're dealing with things of a sexual nature or any type of thing that could be considered deviant behavior, people tend to not want to open up and share. Uh, hey, Retta, hello from is that Retta? If I got that right, hello from Florida. Thank you for tuning in tonight. So when I wrote From Gigolo to Jesus, it was because I wanted to. Thank you so much, appreciate you. I wanted to share my story. I wanted to be able to tell my story my way because I published it through my company, Brave and Publishing, in 2010. So the book is actually 11 years old. And the reason for me was I had started to change my life and I felt, let me put down what that life was like, what that transition was like, how you go from being a misogynistic whore to being a loving husband and man of God. Often people look at people like that sideways. They go, how could someone who lived their life that way be trusted? How could someone who lived their life that way ever actually be different? I've heard women say, once a cheater, always a cheater. I've heard all of those things, and I get it. And I understand why people say those things, especially when, if you were someone like I was, who was out here hurting other people. And when you're out here running around and you've made your life so condensed on sex, you are hurting other people out here. And so there's a lot that goes into transition. And I'm going to tell you my story of what that was like uh, to make that transition. And I came to understand faith not in a place where everybody else does. You know, a lot of people they have their Damascus moment in church. Not me. I had my Damascus moment in a hotel waiting on a woman that I was not supposed to be with. And I put it here in the book. But before I get into that, let me just read you the forward, which is written by my wife, because often when I talk about my book or I talk about my previous behaviors, people don't believe that my wife knows everything. And all of this happened before we were married. Me getting caught cheating 3 times and all of that happened before I was married. And we had to fix all of that. And it took us a year, almost a year and a half, to fix all of that to be in position to get married. Now, as a counselor, I'm able to share what I do with other people to be able to help them understand They can get past whatever nasty, dark behaviors that they had if they want to. And my job is to be able to show them that light by being able to show them my own. But again, let me read you the forward to my book. That my wife penned. I recall KL, or Big Dog as I affectionately call him, coming home and telling me that one of his friends was not happy with the new KL. The friend reminisced about all the fun they had and how much time they spent together running amok. He told him he wished that he had the old KL back. I listened to Big Dog's saddened tone as he spoke about his friend of many years, and when he was finished, I asked him how he felt about the new KL. He responded, I am happy, and unfortunately, he just doesn't get it. That evening when I went to bed, I prayed for my husband, as I do every night. However, I cried as I prayed. I cried because I know that Big Dog's friend meant well, but he couldn't fathom what he was asking for. For 5 years, I've had a front row seat to the self-destructive path that Big Dog calls his life. In the public eye, he was the big man on campus, the life of the party, the one everybody thought had it all together, but in private, he was falling apart. I am in constant gratitude to our Heavenly Father that He has delivered Big Dog from that place. Every day added to his transition is like a day of sobriety that we celebrate together. Tiffany Braxton Belvin, wife of a former gigolo. So yeah, that's my wife wrote that. And so a lot of times I make sure I let folks know that because they'll be like, "Oh my God, did your wife know that?" Yeah, she knew. She was there, front row. She was there for it all. And the beautiful thing of it all was that my wife didn't get pulled into my muck. She stood her ground, leaned on faith, and if it was not for God and my wife, I would not have a seat at this table right now. They held a spot for me to get it together. And once I got it together, I was able to stand up and get back out front and lead like the man God created me to be. But it took some work. And I'm going to give you one scripture before I get into what I'm going to talk about. And this is the scripture that's on page 4 of the book. Watch out for those dogs, those men who do evil. And actually, it's Ephesians 3:2. Let me just back up. It's Ephesians 3:2. Watch out for those dogs, those men who do evil, those manipulators of the flesh. So the scriptures actually talked about somebody like me. Let me just let you see that now. If you want to see my lovely wife, that is my lovely wife right there on the back cover. And so let me walk you through this, because the one thing I do want you to understand when it comes to making a transition in your life, you have to get to a point that you're tired of being the person who's doing all the dirt. And it's crazy because a lot of people will say, I want to change. I want to become something different. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I hear you talking, but are you really ready? Because if you really want to make a transition, you have to legitimately be ready to give up. You have to let die the you that you are now so the new you can take that position. That is not easy because the old you doesn't go out easy. The old you, or the current you, however you want to look at it, is not going to go when you've been enjoying the nastiness of life. When you've been in those seedy motels like I've been, when you've done some things that's not cool. And I put it all in the book because I want folks to understand that work that's required, people can talk about it, but they don't want to do it because it means, one, coming clean to people that love you, putting yourself out there where people are going to start to question who you are, what you do, and they're not going to believe you because remember, you've been telling lies. So now you got to come clean. And let me tell you something. Oh man, when you got to come clean and you got to have and that look, when somebody looks at you of disappointment, when you don't turn out to be who you say or who you said you were. So I'm not going to tell you the whole story. The book tells that, but I want to give you this. And I'm going to walk you through what that night, which put all this into motion, the night of transition, I call it. I was in South Jersey, And if anybody knows South Jersey, there's a little area, Salem County. That's where I used to go to high school back when I was 17. I was on my way to jail the way I was acting. So I've had a connection with that area, and so I had it all planned out. I had went on a ski trip. I had told my girlfriend, now wife, that the ski trip is going until Monday, when actually it was going until Sunday. And then I was going to, when we got back from the ski trip, I was going to drive down where I was in South Jersey to meet a young lady who I had already been caught cheating with previously. And my wife was cool. My girlfriend was cool with it. Plan was in motion. Everything was great. Got the hotel room. I'm just sitting and waiting. I'm ready. And the one thing that every cheater, male or female, thinks, they think that they can outsmart everything. They think that there's no way they're gonna get caught. They think that they got this. They think that the plan is in action. They honestly believe. And the hardest thing with cheating, ladies and gentlemen, is that trying to cover all the bases is so frustrating because you can't. And even worse now with social media. Social media wasn't as big then as it is now. Now it's, oh my God, face recognition software, everything else. You'd be a fool to be out here trying to cheat. But we see it happens every day. Shout out to Derek Jackson. It happens every day. And people are out here living fraudulent lives. And so I'm sitting there and I call him like, I'm here, I'm waiting on you. What's going on? TV's on, condoms on the nightstand. I am ready. Let's go. The young lady says, I'm on my way, baby. Listen, I'll see you in a little bit. Not a problem. I call my partner and I'm basically gloating about how smooth and effortlessly and everything went. And if you ever seen the movie Chronicles of Riddick, you remember that there's a part where the antagonist's wife, she thought that she had manipulated everything to where she needed to be. And towards the end of the movie, you hear her say flawless in terms of her thinking everything had worked, only to find out when she turned around that Riddick had flipped the script and her man didn't become the king. It was actually Riddick. Well, that's what happens when you're out cheating, and that's what happened to me. So I'm sitting there on the bed, chilling, and get on my phone. And I'm like, what's going on? Where you at? She's like, I'm coming. I'm just getting myself together. I'm like, all right, cool. Sitting back. I'm relaxing. And then she calls me back about 10 minutes later. She said, my stomach is bothering me a little bit. I just got to take a little something. I'll be there. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go. 10 minutes turns into 20 minutes. 20 minutes turns into 40 minutes. I call back. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? What's going on? You said you was coming. You're only 20 minutes away. You should have been here. 30 minutes away. You should have been here. She's like, my stomach got worse. I don't know what's going on. And what's really crazy is that I didn't care about her not feeling well. All I was concerned about was that I wasn't going to get what I came and what my plans had set up. And that's another thing, ladies and gentlemen, please keep this in mind, especially the ladies, because I work mostly with women now. Please pay attention to this. Men who are out cheating, they don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about the person they're cheating with. They don't care about nothing but the conquest. That's what they care about. They care about getting paid, getting laid, however you want to look at it. And so I'm getting upset because I can't do what I want to do. Or as you'll hear me say many a times, I was mad that I couldn't sin. I set up a plan for me to come down here at this hotel and have a ball. How dare you get sick? How dare you mess my plan up? Well, now we're going on an hour, a little after an hour. And I'm angry. And I call her and you can hear the anger in my voice. Where you at? And she literally said, baby, I think I'm going to have to go to the emergency room. And I'm like, I ain't trying to hear that. So what you mean emergency room? How you go from everything being cool to now you being in an emergency room? Again, arrogance is a drug. Arrogance is such a drug. And when you are so arrogant that you believe it is all about you, again, you are blind to everything. So I was like, do whatever you're going to do. Just get your ass in, whatever. Okay, fine. She doesn't show up and she texts me and said, I'm sorry. I'm got to go to the hospital, whatever. I didn't call her back because I honestly didn't care. Now, here's where it gets a little strange, if that wasn't strange enough. I'm sitting there angry, angry. So I go through my phone and I'm trying to look at who's close to this area, who's living in Delaware, who's living in Pennsylvania, Philly, who's within, say, an hour or so that I know would be willing to drive to come hang out with me. And when you're a ladies' man, you always have backups. You always have other people that you want to get with. Everybody I called either was doing something, and when you were in the country, everything is shut down. Ain't nobody trying to get on the road and in the dark and all that. You need to get all that stuff done early because here it was going on like 10:30, 11 o'clock, whatever it was. Yeah, it was late, or what's considered late in the country. Nobody I called had time, and some people kind of figured that they were an afterthought, so they wasn't buying into it. And now I go back to the bed and I'm pissed. And here's when I say it gets weird, it gets weird. Somehow on the television, teleministry was on. Who put this on? I wasn't watching no teleministry. And I'm sitting there angry and I'm fuming. Steam coming through my head. I'm mad because, like a spoiled child that I was, I'm mad that I can't have sex. I'm mad that I came up with the perfect lie. I'm mad that things are just not working the way that I want it to work. I am angry. But yet teleministry is on. And I sat there and I watched each half an hour minister speak to a different aspect of my life. With the last minister being Minister Pastor T.D. Jakes. Now, I'm not the biggest T.D. Jakes fan. I like his message on some occasions, but I can't say that I really pay attention to him as a pastor. But he told a story of a man with no legs, and he said, that man is 38 years old. And he said, the story basically was the prophet was telling that man, if you knew Jesus was coming, having no legs is not an excuse. You could have rolled yourself to be in position. So you can't make a mistake. And then I remember Pastor Jake's turning to the screen. Is like, there's somebody out there that's 38 years old that's struggling with something in their life. And they need to just, like this man here could have, roll themselves into position because you're destroying yourself with your behavior. And I was 38 years old. Each of those pastors, all four, over a 2-hour period, I sat there. Each one poured into my life. Each one spoke on a different aspect of my life. Being selfish. One pastor spoke about the dangers of the flesh, the dangers of when you give in to your desires and how you let temptation guide you. And another one talked about how when you're unhappy with yourself, how it manifests into poor behavior. And the third one talked about marriage is sanctified, or marriage is something. And no, it was like, when you have a long term, when you have somebody in your life, if it's not about marriage or something along those lines. And then, of course, Pastor Jake speaking about the 38-year-old man. And the fact that all of these pastors were speaking to something that was directly connected to me was creepy. Excuse me, was creepy. And sitting on the edge of that bed, all of that negative emotion that filled me came to the forefront. I literally was overwhelmed with emotion because I just felt like at that point in my life, I had a master's degree. I had the nice Jeep. I had the beautiful woman at home. I was an educator, so I was making good money, New York City Department of Education. I was respected in the neighborhood. I was a lot of things. So why was I unhappy? Well, here's what I've learned over the years, is that many of us are dealing with trash that has happened in our past that we drag forward. And in doing so, we set ourselves up that it affects the behaviors that we have. And as a counselor, that's one of the things that I try to do, is to reach back into someone's past and grab the information, not the emotion. Because by not taking the emotion and bringing it to the forefront, I don't have to have the person hurting all over again. I can just try to deal with the information that is in hand and then try to help the person get fixed or help the person heal. So I literally got on my knees and I actually called out to the Lord. And again, like I said, the reason why I said this may sound weird, because this may not be something that you're used to hearing. And if you're not a person of faith, I understand. If you don't believe any of it, I understand. If you think it's all BS, I understand. But it's my story. And it's my book, From Gigolo to Jesus. So this is why I wanted to put it down here. And I simply said to God, I give up. I said to the Lord, I give up. I don't know what it is you want me to do. And then a voice, a little soft voice. Some call it consciousness. Some call it the third eye. Some call it your inner voice, whatever you want to call it. But my consciousness, my Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, a little voice came and said, you need to fix things at home. And I heard it again, you need to fix things at home. And I was just blown away. I got up, I wiped my eyes, I sat there, I did not know what to do. So my grandmother, who was alive at the time, rest in peace, Grandma, I called and I said, yo, Grandma, I think I heard God's voice. What do I do? She said, well, do whatever he told you to do and leave me the hell alone, and hung up the phone. Southern Baptist women are that way, guys. You gotta understand it. And then I called a brother of mine, Mike Bostic. And Mike Bostic, who never stopped reminding me how he overcame some very dark days in his life because of his faith. Mike Bostic actually shared with me a long time back, if you ever in a problem, give me a call. If you ever need me, call me. So I did. And I said, Mike, man, I told him the story. So I think I heard God's voice. And I remember Mike saying, congratulations. And I said, what are you congratulating me for? And he said that God chose you to speak to. He said, now here's what I need you to do. One, I need you to do whatever God told you to do. Second, when you get back to New York, I want you to come by the church. I want you to start going to Bible study because I want you to start learning who God is. He said, third, I want you to get into godly conversations at least once a week because you got to start learning how to feel comfortable talking about God. And the last one, he said, you know, you can take your time with that. I want you to join the church, but you don't have to do that right away. Just need you to start getting in the right direction. Okay. And sure enough, after he hung up the phone, my ex-wife called. And she wanted to ask me a question, but she was always so salty. We had been divorced now 2 years, but it was just bitter. We still don't really talk to each other. But it was just bitter. You could taste the salt. You know, tell me if you've seen this. And if you've seen this, put a 1 in the chat room if you're watching. Put a 1 in the chat room if you've ever seen somebody's number come up on your phone and just seeing their name makes you feel ugh. Whether it's baby father, baby mother, ex-wife, ex-husband, whatever. So you guys tell me. Make sure you put a 1 in the chat room if you've ever experienced that, where it's just you just don't even want to take the call. But okay, it's the mother of my children. I'm gonna take the call. And you know, she's talking. I think it was something about the kids needing sneakers or whatever it was. And I said, you know what? We're gonna start this right here. And I'm not gonna say her name. I said, listen, I gotta be honest about something. She said, what is that? I said, when we were married, I cheated. I cheated before and during the whole relationship. She said, excuse me? I said, yes, I'm just coming clean. And I could tell by the change of her tone. She said, what are you in some type of 12-step program? I said, no, I just think it's time that I start owning up to what I did. And she was like, and all this is in the book, by the way. I just want y'all to notice all of this is in the book. And she's like, the hell with you. People were telling me that you was no good, but I wouldn't believe them. I knew what you. And she just went in. I just sat quietly and listened. And at the end, she said, until you do right by me, nothing that you're going to try to do is going to work. And I'm thinking, did she just quote Color Purple? Did she just quote Color Purple to me? Did she just pull a Sealy move? I know, yeah, Miss Sealy move. And I just stayed quiet and she slammed down the phone. And I realized that she needed to get that off. And then it was now the ride home. How do you go home and try to repair what's going on in your home? Well, let me say this. That was the hardest ride that I ever had. And the next couple of weeks was the hardest because to tell my current girlfriend that I have not been monogamous was difficult. But I made it and I did it. And we worked on it. But here's the crazy part. 2 other times, I went right back to the same well. And I want to say this. I'm looking at time and I said I'm going to keep this under a half an hour. And I want to say this to anybody who's out here cheating. Your mouth may say, I don't want to cheat no more, or I'm not going to cheat anymore, and I'm sorry. That is your mouth saying that. Your heart and your loins are going to think differently. You're going to have to fight with both. Because if you think your heart is going to just move you out of the picture when you've been out here slutting and everything else, and fellas, we have a thing about just conquest. If you think that you can just shut all that off, nope, doesn't happen that way. Your heart and your loins are not going to let you go. The flesh is not going to let you go that easy. But it was the third time for me that I really had to come face to face with my wife and God, and I had to make a decision. Now, I've heard people say, my wife, then girlfriend, is stupid. Why would you even bother with him? But she could see something greater in me that I couldn't see. But that last time I knew, if I walk out this house, I'm going to lose the best thing that ever happened to me. But I also knew I had to be something different. So as I get ready to wrap this up about the book, I want to say this, and thank you for listening to the story, is that because my wife and I were able to get past cheating and to go on and have a happy marriage, it doesn't mean that everybody does. And because I work mostly with single women, I see the damage that men do when they cheat. And it's why I work so hard to try to get men to just change the way they do things. By working with women, women point me in the direction of their baby fathers, husbands, boyfriends, fathers, and brothers. And they actually demand that they come and talk to me because they know I'm serious and real about what I do, especially those in the church. But it doesn't mean that the fix can happen for everybody. Some people, you're going to be better off with the next person, even though you love the person that cheated on you. I got to be honest with that. And you're just going to have to accept that. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. So when I put From Gigolo to Jesus together, it was with the idea by sharing stories like this, and there's others in there, but I just wanted to share the one on transition because I wanted to make sure that you had an idea of what that looks like, how I grew into being such a beast, and then how I grew into being a happy, loving husband and man of God. It's not an easy transition, and the road is not easy. And so when I decided to put this book together, and actually, if you look at the cover, there's actually a faded picture of Jesus here. This is the highway, and in this window are faded pictures of women. And the reason why they're in the rear view is because they're behind me. And that was the concept that me and the cover designer came up with. And so if you're interested in getting a copy of the book, go to bravenpublishing.com. It's right here on my wall. That's changing too. I'm about to put up my other sign soon. But bravenpublishing.com, bravinpublishing.com, bravenpublishing.com. Get your copy. But more than that, get a copy for that man or that dude that you need to have him read this. Or ladies, you can get a copy for you, read it, and then point it out to him that he should read it, and you'll know where he should read. Because I'm just going to run you through some of the categories, some of the chapter headings, so you can just get an idea of what you're going to be reading. So I read the forward to the introduction. Teenage years, sex versus love, the addiction, abortions and miscarriages. Yes, I have a whole chapter on abortions and miscarriages. Being married the first time, big beautiful women and the internet. Oh yeah. Becoming a father, the motel. Lord, the motel. I'll let you read it for yourself. Hearing the Lord's voice and finding love. Bible study. Praying for your skin. My growing family. And becoming a writer. And then a conclusion. So all of those chapters have something in place that I think will actually touch you as you read. And so go to bravenpublishing.com. Pick up a copy of the book. Books make great gifts, so give it away if you need to. Read it and then give it away, or buy two and give one away and keep one for yourself. And I want to tell everyone this. I am here if you need help, if you need someone to talk to. I am a professional counselor. I have a master's degree in education, a master's degree in human service counseling, specializing in Christian ministry. I am working to open up a private practice this year. I work with a couple of churches, one here in Delaware, one in Maryland, and I am here to help you if you need help. If you're a single woman, if you're a couple, I do work with some kids, and men, I will work with you if you're serious. And the reason why you don't hear me mention men is not that I don't work with them, is that men will talk a great game. They'll show up for the first or second session, but as we start to peel that layer back and those onion layers back, many men panic at what we start to uncover, and then they disappear. And I try to get them to understand is that for things to get better, you got to be willing to go through the whole thing, meaning that you got to go through a good couple of months to really get to the root of it, so we can start to develop a routine for you to help you deal with whatever you're dealing with, especially if it's something of a dark nature, like, out of control sex or things like that. So, uh, guys, I want to say thank you again for taking the time out to listen to me. Thank you so much for listening to watching my broadcast. Today is Thursday. I believe I'll be on Saturday night. I'm not sure. I got to think. Now, I want to say this. Coming next week, I'm going to see how I can work this, but I am going to invite my sons, because as you will read from the book, I had 7 children with 6 different women. Did he just say 7 children with 6 different women? Yup. I told you I was a hoe. But in the last 20 years, I've been with one woman. 21 years, I've been with one woman, and I've only had one child. So you judge me any way you choose. I don't mind. It's okay. I was nasty. I accept all that smoke. I asked for it. I actually tell people to bring me their pain. And I tell them that we can fix this. And the reason why is because, go ahead and judge me, but if you come to the table, I'm going to help you heal. And to the men out there, yes, I don't mention the men. Again, it's not that I don't work with you. You're just not my focus, because when your lady tells you to come see me, when your wife says you better go see this man or we're going to be through, all of that helps, because then I can get you to show up and listen. And you won't be complaining or saying, oh, well, he's probing. I have to probe. It's what a counselor does. I have to work with you. I have to fix some things that you present to me and help you. But anyway, so again, you can go to my website, bravenpublishing.com, to pick up your copy of the book. Again, it makes a great gift, and it will tell you a little bit more. As I said to you, I think I read them to you, but I'll go through it real quick again. And I want you to understand. Actually, no, let me give you some of the reviews that you've heard. Wow is all I can say. Great book. Didn't put it down once. It touched me. D Diamond. Started reading and the book is deep. I was so into it, I missed my stop on the train. Can't wait to finish it, S. Lee. I read it in one day. I was very pleased with the outcome. If lives aren't transformed from this book, then there is no hope. Your openness and amazingness, you're open and amazing. God has truly blessed you with Tiffany, and we love her and love her, and has blessed you and Tiffany and your love for her, Keith. That was from Jay Otley. Everyone can come away from this book having learned something to either take to heart or help someone they know with the information provided in this book. It is a powerful testimony that millions will benefit. T. Harding. The book is a reality check for all individuals who have or are currently damaging their lives and the lives of others. And that is Jay Everyday. So guys, I want to say again, thank you. Pick up a copy of the book. If you need private counseling, I'm here. If you're suffering from some sexual issues where you're out here doing some things that you shouldn't do, no judgment here. If you've been whatever you've been and you need to figure out how to get away from that, reach out. I deal in those dark areas because there's still help for you. And don't think that you cannot talk about those things in church, because church is where I offer what I do, because I want people in the church to feel you don't need the judgment. Come on, let's talk. Because it was God and my wife who saved my life. And if I can offer that to you, then that's what I'd like to do. So I would say to you right now, if you're struggling with the flesh, meaning that if you are struggling with sex, if you are struggling with some things that you know you shouldn't be into, and that guilt comes in after you get it in, reach out. Reach out. And I'd love to set up a discovery call. Let me give you my information for the discovery call. It's bit.ly capital TALK bit.ly backslash talk with a capital T with a capital W KL, capital K, capital L, talk with KL. Capitalize the letters, bit.ly /talk with KL. You can set up a free discovery call, and I am so ready to talk with you, so ready to help you if you want me to help. But first, let's just start with a discovery call and figure out if I'm even the person that is there for you. I want to say thank you for taking the time out to watch me. You should have liked this by now. You should have shared this by now. So I'm asking you right now, please like this. Please share this. Come check me out. I'm here if you need some help. And if you need to get my book, you know what to do. Have a wonderful night, guys. God bless. I got to get ready for Bible study at 8:30. 8 o'clock, excuse me. Take it easy.